people, welcome to this YouTube channel. My name is Celia Musweneng. If you're coming across this YouTube channel for the first time, welcome. If you are a return subscriber, you are highly appreciated for deciding to choose among millions of videos on YouTube to choose to watch my video. I feel special, I feel appreciated, and I also appreciate you for that. Thank you so much to all the new subscribers, and you all know yourselves. And I also want to thank all the people that started with me right from the beginning, that have been there with me through it all, from the very first subscriber to the very first 25. I cannot forget while I was celebrating the 25 subscribers to up until where I am now. Thank you so much. As you have seen the caption of this video, I would like to share how I lost my virginity. Let's start here. I am 49 years old at the time when I'm making this video. But some things you cannot remove them from your mind, you cannot remove them from your head. Now, this is how I lost my virginity. It's hard. This is what happened. I once made a story time telling you about my childhood, how my parents split up, and how we had to go with our mother because our father had chased her away with us. It was the four of us. And my mom took us to her home in Paris, to her parents' home. So part of my childhood I spent in Paris. Paris is in the Free State. So while I was there, myself and the brother that comes after me, were registered at the school in Paris, which was a primary. We went to the primary there. I went to school during the time of standards. Standard A was grade 1. Standard B was grade 2. And then standard 1 was grade 3. Just like that. So we had up until standard 10, Tina. Whereas the children of today have got grade 12. Now, this primary school used to start at substandard A up until standard 6. And then you do standard 7 at the high school. So, and then that year, it was 1986, when we were put at that school, there were riots. Then my mom took us there and took us back to Everton, where she found a place to stay for herself and found herself a domestic job. But when she took us, she took just me and my brother because we were at school. She ran away with us from the riotic place in Paris at the time to Everton. And then we left my other two younger brothers who were not in school yet at my grandmother's place. Fine. And then I did standard 6 only that year. The following year, now I had to find school for grade what would be called grade 9 now. It was then 7. I could not find space in Everton. She took me back to Paris. Then I'm going to do my standard 7 in Paris. Fine, we're staying with my grandmother. I'm the only one that attends school. The other two are still small, not attending school yet. My other brother that was in school with me here is now left with my mom in Everton. Fine. That very year, when I was in Stand 7, I met this boy along the way when I was going to the shops. Hey, you know, boys have always liked to stand at the corners. He was standing at the corner, okay? He tried to get a relationship with me for the longest time. For months, I made him wait. But with each time that he approached me, something moved. I ended up loving him. He was 2 years older than me. I was 14 at the time and he was 16. And it went like that. We ended up being in a relationship, and the relationship started very innocently. But this boy did not attend school, eh? So he used to either take me to school in the mornings or wait for me after school. You know what? Hey, we used to be very stupid, guys, because I don't understand why I did not ask him why is he not in school. Or I may have asked, maybe I don't remember the answers right now because I don't even remember. What is it that we were talking about? What was the biggest part of the conversation? But I just remember that my whole life I had promised myself, seeing my mom, how struggling she was, and my grandmother was such a sweet person. She always reminded me that whatever decision that I'm doing, I need to think for my mother. And she could see that now I'm getting into a sensitive stage, and she had caught me once or twice with this boy on the street. One day we were kissing, and as I was like dizzy from the kiss, there she was standing right next to us. And my grandmother was a very tactical woman. Instead of her fighting me and doing what and saying all those bad things, she was very strategic. She was not going to say anything that day. She would wait for the following morning. She sat me down and then she would tell me that, you know what you are doing is so wrong. This boy just wants to sleep with you and you're going to have a baby. And as you can see, your mother is struggling. And as you can see, your father is not here. So what is going to happen to that baby? Who will feed that baby? Because I'm a pensioner. Your grandfather is a pensioner. We're not earning much. With the money that we have, we are helping your mother to take care of you and your brothers. So do you really want to do this for yourself? And I was like, I would really think about what my grandmother would say. And really, I made a promise to myself that I was never gonna fall pregnant while I was not working. I was never gonna fall pregnant while I'm not married. I was never gonna fall pregnant ever with outside marriage. That was a promise I made very, very young. I was 14 when I made that promise, and with the help of my grandmother. She was the kindest, sweetest being, far more than my mom. By the way, she was a Jehovah's Witness too, and she was the kind of a Jehovah's Witness that was like setting an example. She was kind, she was sweet, I've never met anyone to this day that is as sweet as my grandmother was. I'm not that sweet. I'll never be that sweet, because also her sweetness was her downfall. She was sweet even in things that she was not supposed to be sweet. But then it was her character, it was how she was. But I like how she built me, because that period that I spent with her was the most educative, was the most informative, was the most empowering. She empowered my decisions, and I stuck by my decisions. But I got lucky. I got lucky because this wonderful guy of mine, which I'm not going to listen to my grandmother, as much as I have decided that I'm never going to have a baby, I'm going to tell my man that, you know what, ain't going to happen. I'm not going to do that, ever. I'm not going to sleep with you. Because I remember by the time my granny started talking to me about this, he had also started suggesting that we need to, he wanted to sleep with me. And I was adamant, like, what? And at first it was like something that was, hey, like foreign to me, because to me it was my very first boyfriend. So you being my first boyfriend, how can you, like, njani? I was expecting this to be as innocent as it is in my head. And that's where many girls are naive. That is the naivety that many girls have. That is part of the reason why I am making this video, because many girls are naive, and I really do wish that they pass this video of this mother, and when they pass this video of this mother, they can get to understand that these things don't start with them. They've always been there, and boys have always been sly, very sly. Fine. And then it went on. This boy, when I tell him my wishes and everything, and he's like, he's supportive. He even claims that, yo, you are clever, man. Yo, I love you for that. For the decisions that you've made, I love you for that. He looked like he was encouraging, I was like, oh, okay, and you know, I don't know, where do we call this? Where do we get this of calling people my man? As children, you call people your man. Where does that come from then? Hey, okay, fine. Me thinking then my man child, guys, understands me, gets my point, will never hurt me. We were all over the township of Parades. We were sitting here, there, and everywhere. Some people would come back and tell my grandmother. My grandmother will come back and tell me that so and so says you are still seen with that boy. They saw you, and I'll be like, some I deny, some I accept, and she forever puts a lecture, a sweet lecture, but straight to the point that don't ever. And then it went on and on, and this boy poured some milli-meal. No, not milli-meal. You know millis, when they say ibona dijo ha ibonile gaha. You don't see the snare, you only see the food. Yes, that's what happened. He started taking me to different places and started giving me this hope that one day he's gonna marry me. Imagine, what do you know about marriage when you are 14? Guys, we've been lied to. Ooh-wee. He was only 16, eh? So he kept on telling me how much he loves me, how much he's gonna marry me one day, and all those silly little promises. And then he takes me to his sisters, he shows me around to his sisters. He doesn't have parents, he only has sisters. He would take me to the sister, and he would say all those things that, guys, today they are so boring. Okay, fine. And then one day he said, okay, let's go to my sister's place. And because I've been to his sister's place once, didn't bother me. We will go there, and then when we get there, he goes and talks to her sister. Her sister comes back as very angry, but I don't understand why is she angry, what was the conversation about, and to a point where she just said, go away. And then we go away. And then she takes me to another teacher of mine. Hey, things that teachers do. So he tells me that I have a friend. Let's go to a friend. When I get there, the friend is talking about the teacher. Yes, the teacher was young, but he was in his 20s. He's not as young as 60. So why is he a friend of this boy? So I would discover later what we were doing there. At that particular time, I did not know. I was just naive following him. I'm following my man everywhere you go. And then unfortunately we get to this point. This is my teacher, and they talk. A similar thing happens. He changes his face after they've been talking to the side. When he comes back, he's no longer the jolly person that we first met when we came there. And then I was like, ow, now we have to leave again. He did not chase us away, but like the situation was so sour, we could see that it's our cue to leave. Fine, we leave. We used to call it Ostrola. We strolled around the township, and then he takes me around some trees, some grassy place that has got trees, that has got there's a footpath that was going to town from the township, but there were lots of trees, lots of big grass in there. He says we are going to town. Guess what? As the stupid me, naive me, still working, I just felt me losing balance with somebody putting their foot on my feet while I was still working, and then I fell down. As I'm falling down, he was on top of me. As I'm like still asking, what are you doing? A hard thing was getting into my thighs. As I'm saying, it's getting into my thighs, and then 1, 2, 3, it's in a split of a second. And as he was busy doing, I'm fighting, and he was like putting my hand like this. He was fighting, and I'm fighting. He's also fighting to hold me down. And then I heard people coming, and I tried to scream. And when he heard that people were coming, he was too shocked. Guess what he did? He stood up immediately. He pulled me. Ask me what I'm doing. I'm running with him. I'm wearing a white dress that had flowers at the time. Ne? I'm running away with him because now I feel guilty about what has just happened. Hey guys, things happen, eh? And as we are busy running, I can feel like there is some water. This dress has got water. When I look at my back to see where the water is coming from, it's not water, it's blood. The white dress with light flowers that are not even much to disguise the blood was selling me out. There was this big red stain. And we are still running, eh? And I'm like, that's when I stopped. I'm like, man, what have you done to me? Look at, hey, I don't know. It only clicked at me at that particular time that actually I had just lost my virginity. Without my consent, without any discussion. All the discussions happened long before. The discussions were giving me an idea that I was safe. That can never happen without my consent, because I am loved. I am this clever girl. I am this respected girl for the decision that I have made. And I was promised this love, this marriage that I want so much, that I was going to be married, and then we were going to have sex, and then have children. There it was. Virginity. God. Just like that. Do I see it as date rape? No. He's my man. He's my man. Do I tell anyone about it? No. Do I sleep after that? I'm struggling. I am struggling to sleep. I see a baby. I dream of a baby. I pray. I do everything. I promise God miracles. I can't even remember the things that I was promising God. But hey, if God were to come now to say, hey, bring back all the things that you promised me at the time, because I was just, bargaining with God that please let me not be pregnant because I cannot stand that. Please, I made so much promises. Maybe I'm suffering even now because of those promises. I did not keep the promises to God. Maybe. I don't know. Because I remember that as for the promises I did, just to see myself not pregnant. I also remember that I've never prayed like that to see my periods. I've never prayed like that just to have my periods come so that I can be sure that I'm not pregnant, because I was like this. I was 14, but I knew that if you are pregnant, then you won't go to periods. But I didn't even know that you can still go to periods even when you are pregnant. I thought I was clever enough just to know that if I see periods, then I'm not pregnant. And at least that did happen. I remember that the day I saw my periods, I prayed and praised and thanked God that I wasn't pregnant. But believe me, I was afraid of that boy for the longest of times. Actually, that was the end of us. It was not the end of us as in like no. It was the end of us, me trusting him, going with him everywhere. He would come and I would go to him, but would stand here whenever he suggests that let's go this way. I would tell him point blank that I don't trust you anymore. And I did not call it you raped me, but I used to remind him that Wena, you slept with me by force. I used to call it that way. I would say, you forced me to sleep with you. I did not want to sleep with you. And he would apologize, forever apologize. I'm sorry. Forever apologize. So I did not realize at the time that actually that was date rape. He could have been arrested for that. I could have gone to the court and so on by then. But during that time, it was not known as such. And if you were a girl, you were coming home pregnant, you were the one that was going to be beaten up. On top of you having been raped by this person, having not agreed to have sex with him. They took advantage of you. The family would come and do a better job as well. Beat you up. Some families were so cruel, they would chase you away. Some families were even more cruel. They would take you to his place and force you to be his wife. And there are some cultures even today that still follow that. And they do not want to know what was the scenario that led to the girl being pregnant. And so many pregnancies to date still happen under similar conditions. It may have been when I was 14, which is what, 35 years back? Is it 35? Yes, 35 years back. But similar scenarios are still happening even now. There are still many girls who are still raped, date raped, just because they are naive. Girls, no one has a right to force themselves on you. Not even that guy that you crushed on. Not even that guy that you may have started a relationship yourself, because Girls these days are so brave, they are not afraid to approach boys to say, hi, I like you. Hi, I love you. And then some boys take advantage of that. And then they come and they end up raping the girls, saying, you wanted this. This is what you want. Because I remember this boy ended up saying, you cannot tell me that you did not want it. You must have wanted it. You just are afraid to have a baby. That's all. But Yona, did he communicate with me to say, maybe that is the condition why I said I don't want a baby? That is the condition that I said I don't want to have sex with him? No, he did not. He made a story up in his head and he chose to believe it. That no, I did want to have sex, it's just that I was too afraid to have a child. What measures did he take to ensure that I was safe and not gonna have a child then? Nothing. He did not bother taking any precautions. He just went on and did his thing. Because to him at the time, it was about his feelings and his feelings alone. So many girls were not as lucky as I was. So many girls have gotten babies from date rape. From the first episode of them losing their virginity, they got babies. They got pregnant. And many of them were chased away. Secondary abuse happened to them. Secondary hurt happened to them because they were blamed for what happened to them. And they were blamed by people that know exactly how we lost our virginity, because they may have passed through exactly the same thing as well. Yes, I was raped when I was 14 by my boyfriend. That's how I lost my virginity. And that's how many women lost their virginity, and some of them were not as lucky as I was. They even have children and babies that they cannot even tell to date that actually I got you through rape. I did not agree to anyone touching my body so that I could have you. They are dying with those secrets. They are carrying those secrets to the grave. So before you judge your parent that may have a certain attitude towards you, consider that it may have happened to them. Particularly if you are the first child. Even not only when you are the first child, but when you are the first child, it is highly likely, not all children were born that way, but it is highly likely that the boyfriend that mommy had at the time forced themselves on her, and that's how you were brought to this earth. And because we did not have people that we can speak to at the time, we could not tell anybody about such a thing except for your friends. They suffered in silence, and the babies grew, the tummies grew, and parents came again and force and inflict more pain on them as well. By the time you are born to a soul that is damaged, first by rape, second by the abuse that came on top of that. And that could be the reason why you feel like your relationship with your parent is strained. There could be the history that they cannot openly admit to, that this has happened. And by the nature of the life that we had at the time, people that we grew up with are still holding a lot of those concepts even today. They still believe that some things need not be spoken. Some things should be secrets, should be kept secrets. So it's killing our society, it's killing our nation. That's how it is, unfortunately. Thank you for watching this video. Please like, share, comment in the comment section. And if you have watched this video up until here and you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. There are more where this one is coming from. There are more stories to come. There are more stories that came. Go check the others out as well. Thank you so much, and bye-bye.